Good evening and welcome to the South Hobart Football Show. I'd like to introduce you to some of our committee members. This is Lindy Scalcos from Legs and Breasts, one of our major sponsors. Tracy Gofton, who's our treasurer and owns Kimbra Glazing, thank you, another major sponsor. And of course, Mrs. Nikitaris Georgina, who own Hill Street Grocer. Yes. Francis Seaborn, who is a new member of our committee. And welcome to the football show.
Easy win, Ken.
Well, it became easy. I think they tired a little bit second half, but they certainly came with a plan to sit a little bit deep and try and catch us on the break, and it certainly worked for them for long spells. I mean, the first two goals were scrappy, but the other three were a bit of quality. So yeah, a comfortable win in the end and a good workout for us, but hopefully we can improve our passing and the sharpness in our play by next week.
You've got Clarence next week. How do you feel about that?
Well, we've had 3 good wins against them, so we've got to be positive, but I suppose what stays in the back of our minds, in 2009 I think they thumped us here in the final, so we'll be focused for the game, there's no question. They've got some quality players and the Korean lads are fit now again, so yeah, it'll be a good match.
Nick, are you disappointed with that result?
Yeah, I'm disappointed with the result, but I'm not disappointed with the effort. I mean, our lads can take a lot away from that. We came here playing the best, and South Hobart are the best, and I'm certainly not disappointed with the effort, but disappointed with the result.
Do you think a couple of the goals were a bit soft?
The first goal, definitely. That was just a bit of luck. The second goal, we were probably guilty of diving in around the edge of the box. And I mean, fitness kicked in the end for South, and I mean they deserved to win. I'm sure Ken wasn't too happy with the way they played, but he's got pretty high expectations, and I'd be pretty chuffed if I was coaching that team every week.
So that's the end of the season for you guys. What does next year bring?
Next year brings, I mean, we've got other challenges again. We're going to lose our fair share of players, so we're going to have to pick a few up through the juniors. We don't pick them up from any other places. A few of the young guys today really stood out for us, and I'm really happy with those, and I think they'll step up nicely next year. It's just going to be a matter of depth again, whether we can push for the title next year. It remains to be seen, but yeah, looking forward to it.
Did it hurt you a bit to see Braden score 2 goals against his former club?
No, I mean he works hard and he deserved that, and I mean moving to South was probably in hindsight a good thing for him. I mean we didn't like to see him go, but I mean he's taken his game to another level, playing with better players around him and stuff, and so I mean that's his choice, and hopefully he gets the trials that he probably deserves, because he's a good young fella, and I don't have a bad word to say about him. He talks too much sometimes. But, no, he's a good lad, good on him.
Who's the next Braden man coming out of August at the moment? Joel Stone looks pretty good.
I'd love Joel to be, I wouldn't say the next Braden man. Joel's got massive potential. He just needs to score some goals, I think. That'd be handy, but he's definitely a skillful young midfielder. And I think he's got trials lined up, but over on the mainland. But if you can stay around, that'd be fantastic.
Vicky, how was the day on Sunday? Did you get a lot of support from within the soccer community?
Well, we did. We had a lot of our presentation day, of course. We had, 7 or 8 teams here, juniors and all their parents, and our youth teams. We had a successful presentation day. I think we served 260 meals out of our little club room, so it's a big need for it.
Excellent. Sounds like a very big day. There was quite a bit of support from local politicians. How do you feel that our proposal was received? Do you think it was well received?
It was very well received by everybody that came. We had good representation from the Greens,
Hill Street. We've got some lovely salads being supplied as well from Hill Street.
Good contacts, and of course...
What else, John?
Hill Street 8. So thank you, Fran.
Excellent. The grant that the club has received is an excellent step in the right direction. Where to from now? What's the next step between what we've been given now and achieving the grand plans behind you?
We're still in the planning process. We've got a lot that we have to do. We've been talking and having conversations with the Hobart City Council, and our next step is to see where our next move is. We also want to seek more funding, and that'll be obviously we'll need more funding if we want to do the big picture, so to speak.
Are you hoping to receive the majority of that funding from government or through private business and investment?
I would say probably it would be government funding, although of course private funding is important as well.
And welcome, I assume, if anybody wants to.
Very, if anybody would like to give us some money, we'd be more than happy to take it.
There's been a little bit of conjecture over the future of the South Hobart Wentworth pitch. Is that down the future hope to keep that as the home of South Hobart senior football?
It's always been our home, I think, for the 100 years it's been there. So both venues have been used. I think that the problem is the main thing is that we need a pitch, regardless of whether it's here or at South Hobart, at Wentworth Street, as you say, an artificial pitch somewhere so that we don't have to stop training and that our teams can play as well, much like Warrior Park, where they can play all year round. And regardless of which venue it's at, it would be great.
Yeah. Warrior Park is probably, well, it is the only other artificial pitch going around. Is that something that we're using as a model for the pitches up here, or are there things that you'd like to do differently?
I think that we would like to have bigger to start with, because the pitch over there for us is
Thank you, Stefano. Morning, Stefano.
And also in the drawings that we did, we've actually put 2 smaller practice pitches on the side, which would be suitable for either Central Region, for junior games, or for our training.
I read something about the future of the pitch being a little bit determined by whether or not the ground here has settled over time. Can you tell us a bit more about what that means?
Pitch here, and we're at the moment the University of Tasmania are doing some surveys on it to see if it's settled. Talking to Steve Adkins, who's had a long association with the club, he feels that the ground is probably almost stopped moving, and hopefully that's the case, and in which case that would determine very much whether we are able to put an artificial pitch there or not.
Obviously everything's a little bit up in the air at the moment because we've taken the first giant step, and now it's a matter of securing funding and following the due process. But is there a sort of time frame that the club is working loosely around, that they'd like to try and get this up and done? ASAP?
ASAP. No, look, we understand that it's going to take a while, and at the moment all the committee members and I are investigating grants where we can get more money from, any help we can get politically, and of course it always helps if there's an election on the way, and possibly there may be one federally, who knows, with the unsettled government at this stage. So you never know.
Yeah, the short-sighted nature of football planning in this state's been a problem for a while, so it's excellent to see clubs like ourselves and Olympia and others maybe doing things I'm not aware of. But I think it's very important now that we do push on and start looking at the big picture and longer term, or we won't get anywhere. It's a forest for the trees issue. So it's excellent to see this going on, and I'm sure the soccer community will get behind it and support it as much as they can.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
Good evening, Ken. Good result last weekend out against Ulverston to progress through to the next round. What are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I thought it was a good game. Obviously the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, Ulverston were very competitive, played with a lot of enthusiasm, so you know, we were respectful of that, I believe, but and to be fair, we got 2 fortunate goals. We got good breaks with the 2 early goals, but in the second half the spaces started to appear and we were able to open them up, and we scored 3 cracking goals. So I was very happy with the performance when you consider the weeks we've had with very little match play, training time, so it was a good performance, I think.
Fantastic. And we trained out at KG5 on Tuesday night. How's the pitch looking out there at the moment?
Well, we had a light session. We worked for an hour and we used it best we could to take advantage of the good pitch and the lights, and we had 18 plays in training there, so it was a good opportunity for us to just work on a bit of shape, a bit of our attacking play, and obviously a bit of defending as well. So it was a good night for us. It was enjoyable.
Fantastic. And everyone's looking all right? There's no injury concerns coming up to the weekend at all? Or?
No major concerns. Nick DeFalco's got a little bit of a temperature, a bit of flu, but I think he'll be okay. Everybody else is fit and raring to go. So
fantastic. So not too many changes to the squad?
I wouldn't have thought any changes. It'll be the same squad. We might just bring one more in as a cover for Nick, just in case he doesn't pull up too well tomorrow.
And Clarence, beaten them all 3 times this year pretty comfortably. What are you expecting this weekend against Clarence?
I expect a really tough match. It's a cup tie, it's a semi-final basically. They'll have to be full of energy. They've got quality in the team with the Korean lads, and young Benny Mascola has been playing on the right hand side for them, or the left hand side. He's also a handful. So you know, Joseph Stevens will play probably, and they have other youngsters like Tog Hill and Lewis, who are competent young players. So I expect one tough match from them. They tend to come good at the end of the season when the finals come around. Brownie seems not to overdo things early in the year and plans his season on coming big at the end, and I think he's done that again this time.
Fantastic. Well, best of luck for the weekend, Ken. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.